Hello, hello, and welcome to the Renewal of Red Row, a Spire the City Must Fall TTRPG actual play. I am your GM, Alyssa, and I will go ahead and let my players introduce themselves, starting with Josephine.
Screaming. Um, this is where I live, and I live here, and this setup, I'm very used to it. I'm Josephine, a Mad Scary Dog friend. I'm your producer, as well as just one of the co-producers of Bad House RPG. We're in the middle of NJ Webfest right now, so we still decided to make Red Row happen. I play Freddie Rose, your Inkweaver, journalist, girl failure mess extraordinaire. I'll pass it over to Nadine.
Design, Nadine. I play your very own sad boy, now inclusive with more sad, Amir. And I'm very excited to be playing this game. I will throw it over to our beloved Rook.
Hello, I'm Rook. Today I'll be Marigold again. Another sad boy, once connoisseur of boy yaoi. That's all I've got to say.
Once connoisseur, like he's stopped now?
His husband's dead.
Boilers.
Anyway, someone else.
Joining us soon but not yet is Netta, who plays De Niro, another sad boy. Weird how that happens. So, last time on Renewal of Red Row, our lovely gang of soon-to-be evictees went up Spire to talk to one of the members of the housing committee. One of the members who actually is on their side in that they are voting against the rulings that would get them evicted. Unfortunately, their reasons for that are bad, and he kind of sucked and spent a lot of time talking about the beauty of suffering and how we need that in Red Row so that the balance of the Spire can be kept. Marigold disliked this and broke some of his artwork and exorcised a ghost that was living in it. Meanwhile, we also had some figures from the past in the form of an old acquaintance, coworker, I guess, is the word, of Amir, who was there making some kind of deal with Cassian, the aforementioned horrible art man. Yeah, and because of their high society past, both Amir and Freddie were recognized, and as a form of cover, Freddie has announced that she and Amir ran away to be secretly married. So that seems like basically everything that happened. Very good decision. Very sound, straightforward thinking decision on Freddie's part. But we will hop into it with I'm sorry. I need to turn off my Discord notifications. We will hop into it with Marigold. So you have broken this piece of art representing the perch, taken a ring which used to have a ghost in it that you exorcised easily. And really just ruined the balance of the piece. And kind of stormed out of this glass house where Cassian was hosting you all. What is it that you do? Where do you go? What's the vibe?
The vibe is rancid. I think Marigold's not even thinking. He's just trying to get anywhere that isn't here, anywhere that isn't this neighborhood. And usually when a job goes south, his feet always carry him back to Red Row, but this time he's walking and otherwise traveling through Spire, and he is surprised to find himself back in the perch.
Okay. So the perch is where Marigold is from. It is kind of a part of Spire. It is, rather than being a part of the sort of vertical city itself, it's a hodgepodge built along the side, extremely precarious. Does Marigold have a particular haunt that they go to?
Yes and no. There are places he's familiar with, but he's not looking for any of those right now. He is looking for what constitutes as a graveyard in the perch. Here on the edge of this building, everything tied together precariously through ropes and more ropes, really. Yeah, he's searching for a place where they would either put people to rest or at least commemorate them if there wasn't room. Don't say that.
I don't know what you're referring to. Yeah, I think that one of the things about the perch is that it, for some reason, maybe not. I think that there are a lot of ghosts in the perch, and a lot of sort of souls end up bound to items rather than like being laid to rest gently. So I think
Sure.
in terms of physical remembrance that is respectful rather than like, I need this ghost out of my house, I'm gonna throw this ring off the side of the spire. I think that maybe there is sort of, yeah, let's say almost like a mausoleum. Again, haphazardly like bolted to the outer wall of the spire, but
I think it's kind of like the ghosts that still haunt this place are much more like utilitarian. You need your ropes to never fray, otherwise you are going tumbling off the side of. And the ghosts are more like a store of magical energy, if anything, kind of like treated as part of the community. You know, every member of the community looks after every member of the community. The mausoleum is a much more personal place where people can like tell stories and leave like remember the dead and have the dead be there in a much more personal, familial way. Yeah, so he makes his way there, kind of like clutching the ring in his palm. And I think as soon as he gets to the perch, mask off and kind of like tied onto his belt, just kind of like completely off. No even thought of having it on here.
and is there a particular like item or place or, altar that Marigold is drawn to? Or a certain someone that he wants to reflect on here?
Towards the back of the building, there is a very simple. It's not even an altar, it's just a fragment of a memory on the back wall, kind of framed in like a rough wooden frame, is a scrap of paper with a watercolor painting of a pigeon pecking at some seeds. And Marigold approaches this wall, kind of just slumps on the ground, kind of like removes his knife, like sheath and all, from like the little bandolier across his chest, kind of like sets it in front of him, and kind of just says more to himself than to anyone. Mike, I fucked up.
Is your knife responsive in general, or is it the spirit is just there and you know it's there?
The knife hasn't responded since the spirit was put there. But I know he's there. And I think he's better be listening.
Yeah, and I think that the knife continues to not respond in any sort of physical way that you can tell, but the confession, the connection, this place sort of draws you into a memory. You and Michael, the man now dead who is hosted, I guess, in your knife. Back when he was alive, when the two of you were living in this building in Red Row, sort of sitting up on the roof in the garden. There's no sunlight except the elevator is moving, so for just a moment, there is a sort of gentle glow down, illuminating you, illuminating the plants, illuminating the single chicken that Michael has appropriated from somewhere up Spire. And we see the two of you sitting up there together, being together. Michael sort of curled up against your side. How does he look? How do you look back then?
We see a rare occurrence. We see Marigold mask off. His hair at this point is a little bit longer, just kind of like splayed out behind his head. A lot younger, less scarred, less weathered. Just kind of, we kind of see the two of them from above, not looking at the camera, but kind of looking through the camera, just kind of like laughing and talking, and Red Row, there is a lot of happiness in their neighborhood. There's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of stress. And here we kind of see, we kind of just see unadulterated joy, not diluted by the rest of the world, just kind of the two of them. And we kind of like zoom in closer, and we hear Marigold saying like, okay, just because it didn't bite you when you picked it up doesn't mean you are the superior chicken whisperer.
I think that that's exactly what it means.
Okay, maybe. But you didn't have to smuggle it in your duffel bag down however many stories of Spire. No, you were just the one who released it. So of course it bonded to you. I had to do the hard work.
Well, we could hardly put it in your bag with the knives and everything. What if it got hurt?
Marigold looks at the chicken. I think we would be in danger if it got a hold of the knives.
The chicken looks back at you, and the glint in its beady little horrible chicken eyes tell you that yes, this chicken with a knife would be unstoppable.
Marigold faces
Michael does not seem to get the same impression and sort of coos a little, clucks at it the way you would make baby noises at a baby, and the chicken, I think, gentles because truly he is the superior chicken whisperer.
Marigold just kind of leans back, kind of like continues to look at the ceiling, just try hard.
You love it, and he leans over and gives you like a soft peck, like on the top of your head.
I do. You know, I was thinking,
Dangerous.
I don't have any jobs lined up for the next week or so. Maybe we could, just just spend some time together and maybe not take a trip, but maybe just kind of do some stuff for just us, and maybe before that, maybe. And Marigold is the most nervous anyone, especially Michael, has ever seen him. Just kind of like flustered and red and tongue-tied. And he kind of like pushes up, just kind of like completely disturbing Michael. And kind of like sits up properly and kind of just rummages through his pockets. And I was thinking maybe first kind of like pulls something out of his pockets in his fist and opens it, and we see in a much similar design, not exactly the same, not identical, but in a similar design to the ring we see in the present. In his palm are 2 rings. Maybe we could sign some paperwork and have a really expensive party for no reason.
I think Michael is stunned just for a moment. Has Marigold talked about getting sort of officially? Have they talked about getting officially married?
Yes. No, this is not a surprise.
Okay. But still, the actual seeing physical rings, hearing that you have the week off of work, basically, that you'll be around.
I feel like
He
that's the surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he sort of gently wraps both of his hands around yours, around the rings, and says, "Of course, gladly. I wouldn't want to waste this time."
I think if it's okay with you, Alyssa, just taking full control. I think we cut forward to five years later. And Marigold is in a warmly lit by candles. He's in a warmly lit, candlelit room, just alone. The room is sealed off from the outside. No lights from any windows, no cracks in the door. Just him, candles, a knife on the ground, and the remnants of necromantic power buzzing in the air. And Marigold is kneeling, mask on, eyes stormy. We were meant to build a better life. We were meant to go somewhere where we could have the sun anytime we wanted. You were going to paint, and I was going to fight the chickens. And it would have been great. And it would have been us. And we would have, there would have always been a spare room so that anyone who wanted to stay could. And we would grow actual vegetables, not just the fungi and the algae that stained every bit of unexposed skin. Not just the crops that we stole up from Spire. They would have been ours. And they would have been good. But that dream belongs to a kinder but more monstrous world. So, what we'll do is this. We will carry on. We will protect Red Row. We will protect the people we love. And if there is ever an end to this fight, I'll bury you somewhere warm. And Marigold reaches out a hand and clenches a fist, and the rest of Michael's ghost is bound to the knife.
And
CJ is at the airport.
and some starting, I think, the trend of the rest of your life together. You know that he's there, but you can't really feel him. But that knowledge is better than nothing, right?
Better than nothing. And I think, like, back in the present, can I actually take a look at the ring and see if there's any, like, inscription of, like, anyone who this would belong to?
Ooh, yeah, I think that sort of very roughly inscribed as if it was done by, just some dude, not like a jeweler.
Just some
There
guy.
just some guy. Not some guy with a knife, but some guy with like a needle and a lot of will. Um there is a set of names and one you don't recognize, but another, the family name, at least you know from your life before in the Perch.
I will see the name and I will go over to, like, wherever, like, someone who I knew from that family. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly the person, but at least, like, someone related. I'll obviously take the knife back. But I will go up to, it's almost an exhibit of a person's life, like partially a mausoleum, partially a museum. But I will go up to that area and I will just kind of like set the ring down.
Yeah, I think you find there is, like, there was the framed painting watercolor from Michael. In this section, there are sort of bits and bobs, a like bit of torn ribbon, the sort of shaft of like an axe. And you place down the ring and hopefully their partner, but if not, still their family, someone who loved them, will be able to reclaim it if they so wish.
Yeah. Marigold stands and he stretches and he sighs and he whispers to himself. And also, not just to himself, because he's never truly alone. Okay. Time to go. And Marigold leaves.
And I think that as Marigold leaves, here leaves the Perch. We are going to go on break, and we will be back in 10 minutes. Yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Go.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. We got back from our break, and I will pass it over to Josephine, live from New Jersey Web Fest, to do some announcements.
Hello, everyone. Once more, as I said, I live here. This is my usual setup. This is my home. As in Fabs and I, if anyone is in New Jersey at the moment, checking out the screeners and all the things and the gala, Fabs and I will be here for the weekend, repping ET1 by Night, as well as some of my own projects with Gudia, as well as other Nameless Domain affiliated projects like Wolf of Revelry and Tales Yet Told. To rep with friends and all of those things. And Bad House RPG specific announcements. We are going to be showing a new show over at Madness Over Manila. It is a story of vampires and hunters told over in the Philippines. Dates and information and cast as well are all on our Bad House RPG Twitter. So definitely go ahead and check that out if you are interested for some more Darkness Eternal of Darkness content and the like. Pray for us. I don't know. Read cards for us, whatever, that we get some win something. That would be really great. But yeah.
I thought you meant pray for us because of Madness Over Manila, and I was like, "What do you know, Producer Joe?"
What is happening?
Pray for us because of that too.
But yeah, you should go and watch or listen to all of those affiliated projects. They're all extremely good and well deserving of all the awards. So, jumping back into this game, which is the Renewal of Red Row, Aspire actual play. We are going to move from Sad Boy Hours with Marigold to potentially Angry Boy. When we left him, or when we left you, Cassian Bell's Toll Warning was, kind of mansplaining the nature of art and suffering and, the fact that existence in Red Row is fully just suffering as it should be. And Marigold seemed unsoothed by that. So, how are you? What you doing? How's it going? Or, I'm sorry, not Marigold, De Niro.
Well, Marigold was definitely unsoothed by the way they stormed out. But De Niro, for the most, after trying to assert himself, has been almost fidgeting and tugging a little at his collar and stuff, unsure, not really about believing this guy or not, but wondering if there's a point to keep going. And he, I guess, instead of offering any more words, after the shattering, he looks at that for a minute and he's like, Cassian tries to wave it away. I'm like, all right. He takes his mask off his holster and offers it to them to look. It's like, what do you see here? And they'll notice there's everything that you can see on camera, somewhat ornate ram skull with looks like painted flowers, butterflies. There's a somewhat conspicuous looking coin that's maybe the equivalent of a copper piece, just right above the eye here, but otherwise it's a regular mask, and I offer it to them. It's what is this reflect to you?
They look down at their literally reflective mirrored mask, sort of showing bits and fragments of yours, and after examining it for a moment, they say, "Oh, well, of course, I'd love to hear your interpretation of this own reflection of yourself, but it's a skull, it's bones. I see death that you're attempting to gild over. Because that's what it would take to bring a little bit of light or happiness to your existence."
And the hand offering this flexes on the horn at that, but keeps it straight faced. Okay, I will just tell you what this is. This is it's an inheritance. It's an inheritance is the short story. I guess the medium story is that this was to be my mask for running my jobs, going up Spire. I've always hated it. And he seems like a little too earnest at that. At what is obviously a bit of like a social faux pas to even admit an existence behind the mask. That would be so painful, but he continues. He adjusts the coin, pulls it out. I got this after a particularly rough time. I was at a funeral, and a kid came up to me with this. He was very, very serious. I didn't want to be at that funeral. That was all I remembered until that moment. But he told me with all the clarity in his heart that this would make me feel better, this copper piece. And he stuck it on my mask. Never since then it becomes sort of like a badge that I don't have to care about, the paint and the wood and the facade. So I don't find the beauty in this. I find the beauty in this. So this has been so enlightening. I am just happy to get your vote. And if you have no other business council-wise, I will be on my way.
He seems a little startled at this very out of nowhere turn from you. I mean, it's almost as if you took offense to something that he had said, which is ridiculous. But being the consummate host and not wanting it to seem as though, he wants you to stay and you're leaving anyway. Cassian sort of straightens up and gestures with one of those caped sleeves towards back through the dining room towards the front door and says, "Yes, of course. Well, if you ever have any other council business to discuss, I'm always happy to hear from constituents. For some reason, I get very few callers about this type of business, especially from the lower Spire, so..."
He makes a motion almost like turning as if he forgot something, but tries to play it off more nonchalant. Just one thing. I have not been rooting around very successfully, but I'm looking for a special type of ink weaver. Debt collector is not the best term, like a debt writer who used to go, probably never went by the name Kaya as you would know them, but I have business with them. I can't hear you.
Oh, oops, yes, I muted myself. Sort of cocks his head to the side at you and says, "Kaya Thornspun? She is,
He nods, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Faye is from your part of the city, I suppose. It's so easy to forget. I mean, she fits in so well up here and has such a promising career, but of course I know her.
Yeah, you know her like acquaintances because they've been laying pretty low, and I have a message from can call an old friend that I need to deliver. So
Give me a either compel or deceive and high society roll.
oh boy. That's two. That's 2 extra D10. Okay.
I thought you meant that you rolled a 2.
No. I would never. That's a 7.
Okay. Well, of course, I have had no reason to have debts written for me.
Someone of your stature? No.
Why? What exactly? Are you the old friend? Did you?
It's family business.
My dear boy, while I do appreciate you reaching out, and I do see the beauty in you sort of coming up here looking for some lost connection, trying to forge bonds across the Spire, I don't know that I should be getting involved in this sort of family business. Maybe if you provided me with a bit more context, and so they will give you the information if you take some shadow stress.
I can do that. That's fine. I have no resistance. That's okay.
Shit. I was I'll roll a d8 for this one. It's gonna be fine. I rolled an
Okay.
8, which is a lot.
That's a lot, isn't it?
That's a whole lot of stress.
That almost seems fitting.
So
Great.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna roll Fallout. So I roll a d10. If it is above an 8, then you're fine.
Then I'm fine. All right.
It's a 5.
Okay, I figured.
So let me look at my beautiful chart of Fallout and see. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and clear 5 of those stress.
Oh,
And just don't worry about it.
that's the worst thing he could have said. I would have rather something happened to him right now. Okay. We're at 3. Okay. Great.
Cassian sort of sighs and is moved maybe by your continued insistence. And he knows that you have so little, that the only thing that is, making you care about this mask that makes you feel better is money. That's all that you, the poor unfortunates down Spire, need. And so connecting you with this debt writer, it really is just a good deed for the day. So he will, after a moment, sort of gesture you inside towards an office, which obviously everyone can see into because all the walls are glass, and grabs a piece of paper. It's not like glass helm letterhead or anything. It's just plain sheet of paper, but he flips through like a Rolodex and finds a card and copies down a name, Kaya Thornspun, and an address of, I think, not of her office, but actually seems like something that is a home address.
Wow.
So, you needn't mention this good deed to her,
No.
but if you happen that way down to that part of the Spire, then I hope that you two are able to find whatever to deal with your family business.
And he gives a smile that's all teeth. Like, I appreciate this and your time. I guess good doing business with you. And then he fully turns and leaves.
Beautiful. You leave through, I think, the dining room where we had our married couple having some sort of conversation. And Freddie, how is it going in the dining room? Are you all good?
Listen, it's great. It's grand. Everything's fine. We're just a married couple.
I think we have been potentially sitting in silence.
I think there's just like a gentle clink of ice in a pretty much empty glass that Amir keeps sipping, but nothing but ice water is there.
Yeah. Like just probably like Freddie just still kind of just pinching Amir every now and then, but like not as like frantically.
Do you think they're done yet, or?
I don't know what's going on anymore. I've kind of blacked out. Like not like from drinking, just like emotionally.
Mm-hmm. And then just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, and then that's it.
It is at this point, I think, that De Niro sweeps through. Do you pause and try to collect them, or just go ahead and deal with their own business?
Sorry, I did not pay attention to what you said. Say it one more.
Oh,
Is
I
De
was just
Niro picking us
asking
up?
De Niro if,
Oh,
he's
got
going to
it.
pick you up or leave you in your awkward silence.
He's gonna like not bust through the door, but like swing it open. Seemingly self-satisfied. You probably did not see Marigold exit, if the logic threads correctly. Plus they were able to like see where to fall out if they did go out the window. That's neither here nor there. But he does pick them up, almost like brandishing a card, sort of offhand, but then quickly slides it. And it's almost a brag, but he seems almost not fully paying attention to what's going on. He's obviously not aware of what just happened, but he's like, we are done here.
We can
Oh,
go.
thank fuck.
No further business. Marigold's not here. Yeah, that's
What?
he.
Red?
Cassian, no. It was a whole looks to see just exactly how far away Cassian is right now because, of course, the walls. And then is like, wasn't the best conversation that we had, but it's ultimately a vote for us. So I think the fact that we did not commit a murder today is a win. I'm taking that win for the rest of the night. Celebratory, maybe. Let's go.
Sure.
Very well. I think Emir will go up to the window to like wave at Cassian. Bye, dear boy, you absolute wanker. Oh, I fucking hate you. And turns around and ushers gently everyone out, but just as he's about to step out the door, I think Emir will turn around and quickly dash up to, as covertly as possible, dash up to Mike and hand him a little note. It's almost like that note's been prepared for a while. And hands her a little note, and it just says, "I need to speak to you." He hands it to him and says, you know who to give it to. Bye, old boy. Kind of knocks him on the side and leaves.
Freddie,
Mike.
less covertly, goes over to Mike as soon as Amir is done talking. And Freddie just basically, just like drunkly, just kind of like slams her hand down, kind of like in front of him on the table, and is just sort of like, "Don't ask, I'm your fairy godmother," and then she just leaves.
Poor Mike, who was just here for like a business deal before y'all burst in and has been watching through glass walls as y'all have a marital spat and people are like breaking statues outside. Like, yeah, no, this is
Welcome to our
this
marriage,
job.
Mike.
Welcome to high society.
But he, I think, gives you a warm look, Amir, and nods, and you know that the note will get to where it needs to get.
Warm look. It's very good.
Yeah, wait, did you like give him anything when
No.
you said you were his fairy god? Okay, you just said it. Okay.
That's a goddamn thing.
My wife is a mess.
Lovely. Well, as you leave this house before Cassian can collect himself and invite you to a dinner party or something, where would you like to head? You know that down in Pilgrim's Walk is the final housing subcommittee member who you were, or
Nasty.
two of you. Yeah.
Booty.
Two of you were hired to talk to. Which is Captain Morning Rose Without Mercy, who De Niro knows as Bootstrap. But De Niro has also just received a new address down in Ivory Row.
I kind of want to look at the map. This is accurate to the map really quick. But
yeah. So Ivory Row is, I believe, the level right below this one. It used to be like 200 years ago, it was a like beautiful high society like type of place. Now it is much less well thought of, but it's still, you know, pretty up Spire. And Pilgrim's Walk is basically the sort of ground level of the Spire, so above Red Row, above ground, but barely. It's got a lot of people and a lot of gods.
Daenerys doesn't know shit about gods. We might as well visit the last guy. We can call them Mercy if it's like maybe like a guardsman like inside joke. Like, of course he's without mercy, but we'll call him Mercy for fun. Marigold, like, Daenerys probably doesn't have a way to contact them, so there's probably a moment where he's like we're outside of this ornate building, and he's like this. Well, it's just us. So, Marigold did not seem happy. We're still, lowers his voice. We're still not necessarily on the same page, but like, if this guy doesn't go over well, we might have to
Kill?
kill him. Yeah. Yeah, that just seems like Marigold's thing. Like,
Can you talk to pigeons? Right, sorry.
no, like
I guess the main thing here that I'm missing is can Marigold speak to pigeons?
I think Amir might
I am
be able to know that.
I am so gone right now, but I am here to help.
Did you drink?
Yes.
It's 3 p.m.
And what stopped us last time?
We didn't have a job. Like, this is like an unofficial task force. I guess I'm still happy to have you along. Like, mainly for insight, because like, I'm not an expert assassin. You're not an expert assassin, but you talk to people, so like,
I don't think it's a good idea that Freddie talk right now.
okay, all right. Did something happen? like I feel like your job was to do nothing in that room.
Just too many things happened at once, really.
Are you okay?
I'm
so
here
you're
to
gonna be
help.
talking
I'm
for
here
her.
to help.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
here to help. Freddie is here and can be
Okay.
here.
If I have
All right.
expertise, I have expertise. I guess it just sort of depends on what's going on. I mean, so the biggest issue right now is that we don't have Marigold, and we might need to kill somebody.
Could use a code word for that, but that would honestly sound worse and more
We
obvious.
might need to smell someone.
Whoa!
Not a good code word.
No.
Yes, but no.
Marigold canonically uses the word unalive. That's all.
Wow.
Marigold's Gen
All
Z. Marigold has a TikTok he needs to maintain at all
In the
times.
far distant
Marigold is
future,
actually the
2020.
original Tube Girl.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Hug. Sleep them. No. It's fine. Like,
we should just not talk about it, I think.
Should we go over there and then talk, and if it goes bad, then we get Marigold, basically.
yeah, like this job is slated to be over in 2 days, so I
Yeah.
guess we can afford to do that. It's like fidgeting with this card now, but makes a note to slip it in his front pocket now. Yeah.
How
so-
much do we know about this particular individual? I don't think that I'm very accustomed to their anything. Who?
Okay. Well, it's without mercy, full name is
Captain Morning Rose
Captain-
without mercy.
yes, former captain. Like he had like some issues climbing up the ladder, which is weird because his whole like personal motto or whatever was like individuals can do anything. So so like there was sort of like him failing himself, and it was kind of pathetic. But since I don't know too much about the politics stuff, I'm not really. It's just like what guard circles have like speculated on. So like he probably doesn't know of me, but most people know of them. So whether or not a captain would even have interest in what's happening in Red Row is like beyond me. Like he's sort of the wild card. So
what if we get him to fight you for the vote?
That would be so interesting. Like if that would be better than outright murder, I suppose. Like
It's his honor.
if he's for it. Yeah, I mean,
Do you think you could beat him? Sorry, I just had faith immediately in your abilities.
No, I mean, I'm pretty much in my physical prime. Is like,
Mhm.
De Niro could
You
kill
look good. You look great.
anyone.
well, thank you, and thank you.
You're hot as shit.
You're actually
Thank
really
you again.
attractive.
And we saw
Thank
you
you again.
across
We
We
the
just
bar.
stopped flirting with De Niro.
Wow, this vibe right now is like, I don't know if I want to get drunk anymore, but you know, I'm not hating it. But if he knows of the fighting rings, then he'd know of me. So as long as we get more info, I can play myself down a little bit.
And is the thing with this guy, we don't know what his vote is, or he is voting? No.
He's on the council.
Right.
We just don't know. Like,
we don't know what his. Okay, great. Then
like
we
what
got
his
it.
intentions are.
We got it.
Yeah.
Easily. I'll smoke a cigarette, get a prairie dog in. We can straighten up.
These are words to me. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Like separately, they made sense, but when you put them together, everything fell apart. Let's
Do you need
just
some water?
go. Let's just go. I think
I
we
have a
should.
flask.
We should. I know
need some
there's
water?
a there's
You have a
a
flask
small-
of water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Like normally it's a flask for many types of things, but like you got to keep people on your toes. Like keep them on their toes.
You gotta keep people on your toes.
Okay. Like shoves the flask in your hand.
Yeah.
All right. You know what I meant.
Can I do a check to see if I get less or more?
That would be so funny if he just
If it got
forgot
worse?
what liquid was in there.
It's just straight vodka in there.
What should I do?
That feels
low
like
society.
low society. Resist.
That's just low society for me. That's 2.
Yes, correct.
8.
Yeah, you're great. It's definitely
Hell
it is
yeah.
water.
It was the water that I needed.
Yeah.
Water
If your
is the
opponents
gift of
think you're
life.
drunk when you're drinking that shit, and it keeps them underestimated you. You know?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But we can go.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Where did Marigold go after leaving the perch? You knew where the next destination was, but did you just decide to fuck off?
We'll find out.
All right.
All right.
Just shows up like Batman.
I have an ability that lets me do that.
Okay, I see.
Is it called Batman?
The IP.
It
Batman.
might as well be.
Might as well be.
No, it's called surprise infiltration.
Mm.
I could
Surprise!
just be somewhere.
That'll do it.
Surprise! Infiltration.
All right then, the three of you without Marigold take one of the gondolas through the Silver Quarter, down to the elevator, take another couple elevators, a pigeon, a snail cab, all the way down to Pilgrim's Walk. This is the sort of ground level of the Spire where anyone coming into the city comes through a welcoming embrace that then, slips a hand in your back pocket and steals your wallet, maybe.
No.
But
Not my wallet.
it is a tangled mess of non-gridded streets. More like sort of footpaths that buildings have sprouted up around like mushrooms. But through the center of it is the Street of the Gods, which is an open street where the most successful churches are housed. And this is where it was suggested that you might be able to find the poor captain. Because truly, in the estimation of Lorenzo and the sisters, he is a man who needs whatever help from whatever gods he can get.
Man.
I think sort of as the group of you enter the God's Walk, it is like multiple stories. Freddie?
I would be interested, is there anything that denotes the captain's, like, is this location like the captain's territory?
Yeah, so his territory is a little like not great or well defined just because he's kind of on the outs with the rest of the guard.
Yeah.
So nominally, yes. Nominally, he does have some level of authority here, but it's sort of like the guard lets him think that he's like doing his job here, and then there's a whole other contingent of guards that are sort of actually doing the work.
Is there anything decoration wise, interior design wise, that is like that clarifies which of the gods in particular that he aligns himself with?
No. So,
Okay.
or rather, you haven't found him, the person yet, and the God Street itself is just like all of the gods.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
There are like, thousands of like buildings and symbols and people, some with just...
I will just do another check of that once we like see him. In that case.
Yes.
I might actually use my Inkweaver move. I might actually play the game.
What's your Inkweaver move? Oh, is that once you actually find him?
Well, I was gonna say, if maybe I am able to like talk to him and like in his, it's always good to relate to someone when you're canvassing. Like I know your daughter, whatever. I do have an interesting thing just for everyone and for a reference later on. I have something called Do It for the Story. I have a way of getting people to act on their baser impulses. Once per session, an NPC I'm talking to does precisely what they want to do at the moment in time, regardless of social morals, fears, obligations, or politeness. So if this guy does want to kill De Niro for any reason, we'll see.
Just insult him just enough.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Are you saying that if he does want to kill De Niro, you can talk him into actually doing it?
And it's like the paladin thing. If they initiate it, I'm not breaking my oath. You know?
Honorable.
But yeah,
Wait.
she's keeping an eye out for like details and things. Like she wants to know what this guy's politics are.
Yeah, I mean, the street is filled with barkers trying to sort of pull any of the passerbys into their particular churches, into their faiths. You do see quite a few people with ribbons and coins that you recognize, Freddie, as at least followers, perhaps priests or servants of Stoltz,
Yeah.
the god of luck.
And I mean, I don't know how clear it is to everyone in the little party, but like our ribbons are all the same. Me and Freddie's and theirs.
Looks like we might just get lucky.
uh,
That was really low hanging fruit. I was going to ask if you prayed. If you needed that kind of luck.
I'm bad at religion, so
Okay. Most people are.
I'm pretty.
Oh, congratulations, Freddie. Whether or not that was a lie, your arm is clear. The magic has worn off.
Right.
So,
Way.
That's right.
no new words.
The way you said that, I was stressed.
I was like,
Congratulations.
is something good happening to me?
Is there an area where, let me get the name correct, Our Lady Limier? Anywhere there?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. She is sort of an established or common enough goddess that she almost doesn't need a presence on this god street because it's more for sort of smaller, like grasping powers and churches. But I think that
Yep.
just sort of out of posterity, there is a like small sort of church that is it gilded, even if it's sort of limbed in silver and sort of brightly calling.
I think I'll just look at any kind of depiction or representation of her and just kind of nod.
Oh.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like empty because I think that if you are here, you're like not really that interested in the sort of more conventional worship, but the one sort of silver priest there covered in like small delicate silver chains with beautiful like moonstone jewelry, they will sort of smile and nod at you as they go about their business in the church. And it's a nice kind of quiet, less grasping, I think, vibe from the rest
It's
of
not
the
as capitalism.
street.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Amir will turn to Danira and say, do we know the exact location of where the dear captain is?
No, and whether or not this was true, De Niro would have probably forgotten. He has like his patrol area, but since he's not like in the best standing, that's still not very clear to me. It might be helpful to just like do his patrol and hope he's not inside of a temple praying or something like that. Where
Why don't we here, and we'll go over to the priest with the silver chains. So, most esteemed servant of Our Lady, do you have a moment to answer a question?
The priest is kind of joyful at being addressed, I think, because they are
Oh, no.
not out on the street barking. They get a whole lot of interaction and sort of over enthusiastically are like, of course, anything for a follower or a non-follower. If any of you would like to hear about our glorious lady, oh no, we don't do that here. That's for them. That's for out there. Yes. What was your question?
We're looking for a particular person. I I can't speak for anyone else, but myself has already found the light of Our Lady. So no need to explain anything to me. But I was wondering, do you know where the dear captain would be? Captain Morning Rose, without mercy. Ah, not a fan.
Sort of look around the shrine and finding it otherwise empty. I mean, of course, I would never speak poorly of a guard out in broad daylight.
Not at all.
You can speak and Freddie will lean in a little bit and just sort of say, like, we're on a sorts of intervention measures. Him.
Oh, good. I mean, of course, things are in accordance with our glorious lady's will, but that man needs all of the intervention he can get from someone outside of this area or outside of the depths of the Spire.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for. We have been brought by Our Lady to do so. Could you point us in the right direction?
He's been crowding around one of the little stalls, lean-tos. There are a few along the street, but I think probably, and they will sort of guide you out of the building itself and sort of point in a direction, like down the street and sort of kitty corner from where you are. It's over that way. There are, the ribbons and the shouts and the offers for luck, the vouchers for that casino up Spire. It's,
Oh,
well, maybe it's easy to miss in this mess, but
absolutely. I appreciate your help. May the lady's light shine forever upon you.
and upon you. If any of the rest of you would like to come back afterwards, we'd always be pleased to have you.
A pamphlet, something, business card.
De Niro just gonna say yes, like after.
Like, when you ask for a business card, they look deeply confused,
Yes.
but will sort of unwrap one of the like thin silver trains draped around themselves and say, "This will lead you back into the light," and hand it over.
Cute.
Thank you for your help. Pushes Freddie out.
Thank you, lady.
What is the woman about? Lady God? We're walking
I
away.
believe that. Yeah. I believe that's his area of expertise.
The lady Limier.
Yes.
Yes, Limier. What would you like to know?
Domain?
Domain? Light.
community? Question mark.
I mean, yes.
Is she good? Is she normal? Evil?
Listen, are
What
any
the
of the
fuck does
gods
that even
normal,
mean?
able?
What does an evil god persist of? Like,
I don't
why
know.
would someone willingly? You know what? I don't have to
A
understand.
lot of
its
people would
perspective.
willingly do a lot of things.
Yes,
Um,
very true.
Freddy
Mm.
just kind of carelessly wraps it around the Stoles ribbons that she also has. It's cute, and then just like keeps walking.
Like,
Sure.
Mia
And then I
goes to
lean
say
to Emily,
something.
it's like, that seems a little blasphemous, doesn't it?
It's Freddy.
Okay. I mean, she said
Tom
she's
Brand.
bad at religion, so.
And again, as he walks like away from the building, he'll kind of give it another not just like a wayward nod. It's not reverent or anything like that. It's just cheers. And then I guess head towards the ribboned lot. This is more your domain.
That's very true. It's a good and bad thing, perhaps.
He'll kind of like tug at one of the ribbons. Is it in your hair? Is it in your
It's like kind
outfit?
of. They're like all. It's like all incorporated. So like there is one in my hair, like around my neck, like as like a bracelet, necklace. Like there's just some like ribbon based.
He'll tug on the one on your wrist, not so it comes off or anything, just one of the loops, and say, "They look good on you."
She starts taking it off as like misinterpreting, and then just sort of like, "Oh, good idea." And then like I think she like starts to like share her ribbon with everyone as we go into the stalls like area.
Well, okay. Doesn't really go with my outfit, but sure.
You're wearing all black. It'll be perfect. It's really just like a white kind of lacy.
We're supposed to know anything.
With it.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah. Keeps it out of my eyes a little.
You're gonna need that for the fight.
Sure.
Possible fight.
So we're already assuming this is happening. I think it will probably, based on the luck that this guy has, right? Yeah.
Freddy will lead, by the way.
Awesome.
She's for some reason full of hubris.
De Niro,
There's more hubris, familiarity. She knows what she needs to get out of in the situation. So maybe little low society, little dive bar situation. Not dive bar, like casino. Yeah.
And it's Pilgrim's Walk, so the vibe's already there. De Niro just like 2 heads taller than you. It's just gonna be looking out for our dear captain.
Yeah, and as the priest of our glorious lady suggested, it is easy to find him at the booth of this sort of small temple of stalls, which is less a temple and more a few like card tables. There is a woman outside dressed, laced in the ribbons that Freddy also wears, with layers upon layers of like scarves and cloaks, and covering their face is a plain white mask with sort of green eyes resembling the lady painted on, and coins dangling sort of from it, cuts off like below the nose and dangling sort of in front of the mouth. And as you approach, she sort of waves, gestures to everyone who comes past. Would you like to try your luck?
Sure.
I don't know that you need it. Do you, sister?
Looks over to Amir and De Niro.
Yes.
It'll be faster if you say yes. Yeah.
Easy.
Why not? Who could turn down a little bit of luck? I guess, if that's the tenants,
It's simply, I assumed that you were blessed with the luck already, sort of gesturing to her own ribbons. Is this some fashion now?
Some of party that I'm with, we do have business, but whatever you're offering, as well just have a little fun.
Oh, well, I can certainly promise you fun and quite a bit more luck, perhaps, than some of our other patrons. Please come in. And she will gesture you towards a card table where a similarly dressed priest is sort of dealing to a few randos and your target. Your prey, our beautiful captain, who is a muscular human, sort of shaved face, shaved head, but both kind of starting to grow out in an unattractive, like disheveled way.
The way we were all like,
He's ugly.
Just gotta let the players know.
His face is drawn, and there are sort of shadows under his eyes, in his cheeks. And as he holds a deck or a hand of 5 cards, you can see that his hand sort of shakes, but he is wearing, standard guard outfit armor for this level of the Spire. And so, despite presumably being on duty, is apparently playing some cards.
This is break.
Are they in the middle of a game, or are we able to jump into the next round by now?
Yeah, I think that you wait for a hand to sort of
Yeah.
wrap up, and then the
How did he do?
dealer will. Badly. He
Okay.
has a few coins in front of him, and a pile is sort of pulled away from him, from one of the other patrons, towards the dealer.
One thing, Inkweaver based thing. Once per scene, ask the GM what's weird or out of place. So just off the gate, what here is is he playing true, or is there a situation where if things escalate, he has the upper hand? Because right now he's doing shit, that sort of thing. Are there any traps in place right now?
Yeah, he almost, despite the fact that, he looks rough just in general, he's clearly losing money, but he seems almost pleased by that fact. And I think that given your relationship with Stolz, you would know that it seems like this is him sort of drawing out his bad luck so that perhaps in other aspects of his life he will have more luck in exchange.
I feel that.
Rough, buddy.
Maybe we're friends, actually. I'm gonna sit next to him.
Yeah, I think De Niro will sit across.
Is De Niro... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is De Niro dressed in any way that denotes that they're related to the guard?
Yeah, I think he has like standard armor, but like a jacket on. So like, I guess the word is like the cuirass is probably visible, or at least some breastplate is like, just tasteful breastplate.
Oh my god, Joe.
Sorry.
I saw the
feel like I
thought
walked
bubble
into
up.
that one. That is, I'll take the blame for that again. If there's insignias that we typically use for our stations or whatever, it's probably not visible right now.
Okay.
Low key.
That makes it worse. So he sort of gruffly nods when you sit down next to him, Freddie. And what was Amir doing?
Amir's gonna sit like if De Niro's sitting opposite, he'll sit next to De Niro. But both Freddie and De Niro can see that his mask has changed in like 2 seconds. He is now wearing a full white mask with 3 sets of red eyes on either side.
Yeah.
As I
the
sit down
captain.
to Captain, I like you're engaging in conversation, sort of like, hope you don't mind.
Of course not. It's open to everyone.
Specifically asking about you.
Who am I to deny other patrons of Our Lady of Luck? I understand needing it. Wouldn't deny it to anyone else.
I'd drink to that.
Yeah, I sort of gesture to healer / just any. Get on to the next round.
De Niro, as you say, like, I'll drink to that, his attention is drawn to you, and you can see the change in his face as he clocks your armor and what he is going to interpret as, like, you shoddily, like, your shoddy disguise of wearing a jacket over it.
Yeah.
Sort of hardens and pushes his chair back, stands, glares at you, and... Are you here to yell at me for not being on duty? What are you doing here, guard?
Were you gonna say something? Because Freddie was gonna try and like alleviate.
Yeah, he was gonna try and just de-escalate, just be like,
Okay.
No, I'm on duty. What kind of guard would that make me? Like, not really. I don't really think of myself as that much of a hypocrite. And then he sort of like waves himself off, like, I am not above you.
Unfortunately, he is on duty, and so takes this as
Great.
you saying that he is in some way a hypocrite. And Freddie, did you have a attempted de-escalation?
I have something called Trust Me. So I'm going to use my deceive skill. I'm going to lie to him in a second, but when I convince someone to trust me against their better judgment, I can gain them as a temporary bond.
Okay.
So right now, I just sort of like, Freddie goes from pretending she and Amir were married and then immediately backtracking so hard and just sort of like goes and like kind of in a very like overly familiar sort of way, like kind of like caresses his shoulder almost as she stands to like meet, and sort of like doesn't like force him, but like sort of gently like tugs him to sit back down, and like also kind of strokes like the back of his arm and is like, we don't need to worry about work or anything like that. We are in a holy place. My companions and I were here for a good time, and that doesn't mean that we have to tell anyone or interrupt yours. Does that make sense?
All right. Roll me that deceive, and either I will give you religion or order. Or a cult, because it's your, like, God can count as a cult.
I
think.
was gonna say, thank God. Okay, great. So that is two. That is one from my skill, one from my. So that's 3 dice. Eight.
Okay, that's a success. He gentles a little under your hand and goes to sit. You can feel it's not just his hand, his whole body is sort of
It's not just his hand.
lightly tremoring. But he sort of looks over to the dealer and nods and looks at you and says, well, maybe my luck is finally starting to turn.
Deal us in.
Yeah, I think that if anyone wants to play,
We're all playing.
Go ahead. Yes. Well, then
Do we get
everyone, I
cards? I can get a card.
I do not have cards for you to pull, but go ahead and take 1 silver stress, as this is like an act of sort of donation and worship to this goddess, and so it's going to cost you to be included in it.
Now, I have a 1 resist to silver. Does that mean that cancels out, or do I...
It cancels out, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It cancels out, yeah,
Yay.
cool.
Yeah.
So do I have to take away that 1?
No, you can just go ahead and mark
Oh,
the 1
shit.
in the stress, but it means that basically you don't have to roll for fallout.
I will note
Because-
also, I think I still have 5 stress. I mean, I had 4 blood stress earlier from
Yes,
rose
but
bush.
you took fallout, so it cleared.
So it cleared. Great. Okay, so I'm just back at
Yes.
1.
We're so good. We're so back.
Yeah, and I think that the dealer will sort of deal, and y'all can play these hands in the background as you try to have whatever conversation it is that you want to with this guard. I think that I will say that for your first hand, Freddie, you get a big win, and it is clearly just the dealer stacking the deck in your favor for de-escalating that situation.
Excellent.
We love a fair game.
And because of that, I will like nudge my elbow to. I'll whisper to him, to our friend. What's his name? Morgan? Captain Morgan? That's not right.
That is not
Mercy.
right.
Morning
Mercy.
Mercy.
Morning Mercy? Okay, great. I'll like whisper to him, very pointedly, and just sort of be like, just kind of conveying that like I just had a big win. Just let me know and I'll fold early, that sort of thing. If you're doing. Really trying to butter this guy up.
I think that he laughs a little roughly, like it's not something that he's done in a minute, and says, I don't know that that's how this place works, but I appreciate the thought.
Hospitality is clearly, obviously, part of where you are.
It's hard to remember up here.
You're in good hands, I promise.
there's a moment where it very much feels like he's going to shoot his shot at you, and pulls it back and says nothing and just sort of sighs.
I look at a
and
mirror.
Nods.
I look at De Niro. It's kind of like,
You see absolutely nothing. He's pretty stock still behind this new mask.
yeah.
De Niro's unmasked, but he's pretty like nonchalantly looking at you two, like might not be worth it. That's the head shake is like it's like you can circle around or you can get to it, but we can both see how fragile this guy is just within a few minutes of sitting. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next round.
Before
Yeah.
we go into the next round, Marigold, are you gonna like Batman out of somewhere, or are you just off doing shenanigans? What's going on with Marigold?
Rook is waiting for the funniest time for Mark
Okay.
to appear.
There we go. I
No
knew it.
worries then. No. Make it happen.
Yeah, I think that as the sort of games continue, he slowly relaxes a little bit, even chatters a bit with you, Freddy.
Is it
And-
possible for us to even take a break so I can get him alone?
Oh, I mean, you can certainly ask him if he wants to. Yeah. If you ask him to take a break, he will come with you.
Can you get me a drink? Has been drinking for hours. Can you get me a drink?
Is this you asking him to like get him to leave, or
Yeah.
is this you asking the others to get them? Okay.
That's
Yeah,
me
let's
asking.
keep the table warm.
Yeah, the captain to like, let's go this way.
Did you want me to bring something back for you, or?
I'm coming with you.
Oh. Oh, and he sort of looks disbelievingly at the dealer for a moment before. Like, yes, of course. And he will pull on a cloak that had been draped sort of over his seat, like partially covering his guard armor, sort of trying to give you the sense of, I'm not escorting you for a drink in my capacity as a guard. I'm doing it in my capacity as a man.
Love a man. Okay.
The amount of pain that caused me it racketeered through my entire body, my soul even.
Okay.
Me too.
As they flick away, sorry, just as you change the
It's
screen,
okay,
I saw
it's okay.
that. As Freddy turns around, Amir's gonna flick so hard one of his chips at the back of Freddy's head, and say, "Oh, my bad. I shouldn't have done that. Kind of just slipped." It's
Mhm.
he's doing a very bad accent, and he goes over and he picks up the chip. "Sorry, dealer, let me get it for you." And then you see as he picks up the chip, when you look at him, the veil behind the red, essentially, of the eyes drops for a second, and you see his eyes, and they just give you a stern look, and then the veil comes back. And he goes back, "Where were we?"
Trying to kick your ass is where we were at. Come on.
"Oh, you think so, old man? You're only young, actually."
We are almost the same age. It's all
Yeah,
right.
well, just don't say that. There might be ladies around. Yeah, man, I don't know what you're after. Slaps.
Luck can be a guy or a lady, I suppose.
True.
I mean,
So true. Marigold sitting behind you doing
No!
magic.
God, Jesus Christ!
God damn it, jeez.
That's not a
Ooh.
god that I worship. God goodness. Mm. Wow, I
How long have you been there?
didn't take you for a cards type person, Marigold.
You know, they're basically just thinner knives.
Hmm.
We can stop talking.
Yeah, we can just hang out. He draws out those two words, like looking Freddy's direction, looking at the whole perimeter, like while we get our business sorted.
Do the three of you, Sans Freddy, go back to playing cards, or does anyone follow? What is? Try and keep watch.
I think
It would be bad if I followed, so I'm gonna keep watch.
Oh, is there... How many people are by the bar? Like, is it just those two, or is there a crowd?
I think that there's not a drink in this particular like building, but it's clear, like, as you were walking through the street, there are for some reason, a lot of the little temples and buildings nearby do have liquor, just get you in the mood to
Still,
get some gods, get you in the mood to find God. So there are, a lot of little, like, almost sort of like little haphazard, like, food stands with booze that have a decent crowd. Like, you could easily sink into the crowd and keep an eye on them.
Cool. Marigold will follow. Just kind of like wave goodbye. And then just peel off and follow and just like blend into the shadows.
what the
Good
fuck?
luck.
Head Marigold, and make me an investigate low society roll.
Eight.
Okay. As you sort of peel off into the shadows and start to watch, you see another shadow with a familiar head of sleek black hair, familiar all black businessy outfit, doing the same. So, Freddy, where are you taking this guy for a drink?
I guess I take him outside to one of the little like temple stalls. Like, is it like a food truck of like liquor almost?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll take him to like a nearby alley.
Yeah.
Gotta get privacy, only kind of. And I sort of, as we get the drinks, I kind of like lead him into the alley or wherever. Self-preservation non-existent, obviously. But she kind of standing next to him against the wall. We did have a bit of an agenda, my party mates and I. Would love to sort of get your candid opinion on some stuff, if you wouldn't mind, now that we know. My narc companion isn't around.
He sort of sighs and cradles the drink, takes a big gulp of it, and says, "Yeah, I figured my luck wouldn't be quite that good. What is it that you're here for, then? The sisters, that bastard in Red Row, someone else, one of the guards?"
Now you are quite stumbled in my line of sight. I'm here to support you. You have a voice in the council, and I have an agenda one way or another. I work for Leia Shines the Light. What's his reaction?
I'm not going to make you roll for this. He fully doesn't recognize the name.
Great.
He is not a
Great.
good council member.
Great. Yes. Okay. Does he play it off like he does know, however?
No.
Okay.
He's just like, he sort of cocks his head to the side. You're
Okay.
gonna have to be more specific.
Well, I do know a good amount of the situation, but the one thing I guess I'm only somewhat aware of is your opinion, your vote.
He looks completely lost until you say vote, and then, oh, the rich lady, down in Red Row, right?
Something like that. She's here to sweeten the
I'll
deal.
be- And which direction does she want it to be sweetened in?
In favor of.
Because I gotta tell you, there are a lot of competing interests there.
Sweetening the deal of the upheaval. Now, I would love to understand, at the very least, appreciate her stalls, Lady Luck. In a way that supports you, in a way that uplifts you, potentially. Gets us both on the same side, that sort of thing. And I am lying, so if I need to do anything, let me know. He's my buddy for now, so.
He is your buddy for now.
Yeah.
But I think that the other deals that you've made, he says, I've heard this whole song and dance before, sweetheart, and it's what got me here. I don't think that your Shines the Light is going to be able to sweeten anything enough to get me out of it.
And Freddie's mind is like a yes. But what comes out of her mouth is well, between the two and I, she has many other successes, other places. I'm not going to say that it's disappointing one way or another. But to clarify, I mean, is there any particular? You don't have to say to. I wouldn't want you to do that. But I suppose what makes the opportunity not so appealing?
To get to this position in the illustrious council of our beautiful city, as a lowborn guard, I'm familiar with the kind of deal making that your Shines the Light wants to do, and I made enough of those deals down with that bastard in Red Row that she might be highborn, but when it comes down to it, anyone offering me a deal like that, I've learned from one thing from Mr. Winters, and it's not to trust this kind of offer.
What we need in this city, in this life, is people who believe in the things that they put efforts in, have a say on what policies go through. I don't blame you.
That makes one of us.
Well, let's finish these drinks and finish up for tonight.
Oh, you won't get in trouble with your lady, will you?
I won't get in trouble if we just say I just had the hardest time reaching you.
Sort of nods and... All right, I'm sorry I couldn't be more help to you, but I just can't do this again.
Freddie will give him a kiss. It is an intimate one, but it's not lingering or anything like that. Just sort of almost, it's more of an acknowledgement than anything really deeper than that. But then she just sort of like takes his hand and like puts him back in, gives him like a smile, and is like, in her mind, oh God.
Yeah, his lips are extremely dry and torn up, and his hand is extremely sweaty.
That's great. That's good for me.
And I think that as Freddie is leading him back towards the rest of the group into the little Temple of Stoles, we will close this session. I have been your GM, Alyssa. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at a disaster queer. Also at Big Bad Con. If you're in the Big Bad Con, come say hi. Sure. Yeah, and I will pass it to our beautiful producer and player, Joe.
Hello, I've been Josephine. I'm at Scary Dog Friend. I have been Freddie Rose. I almost said Freddie Wong. That's incorrect. I'm Freddie Rose. The Inkweaver, the toxic kisser, man kisser of this show, this episode, per usual. Once more, Madhouse RPG, please give us a very warm welcome to Madness Over Manila. Alyssa and I are both on cast, and it's going to be insane. We're starting off the 5 first episodes with vampires and the last half of hunters, and it's going to be a great time, as well as, hey, Badass RPG, the two of us, Fabs and I, are in NJ Webfest. Give us some good energy for the potential nominations turning into award-winning awards, those sorts of things. Other cons and such, I'll be at PAX Unplugged, so if anyone wants to come say hi, we'll have sick business cards at so you'll get to touch our names in your hands. Pass it over.
Nadine, I've been playing Resident Sad Boy number 1. Amir, NE_ on Twitter, NE actor on Blue Sky if you have it. I have codes if you need it, because we all should leave the steaming shite pile that is the aforementioned. And I have had a wonderful time watching Freddie just make choices, and Marigold just be the saddest marriage story to have ever existed. And we didn't have to kill Mr. Man Who Needs Chapstick, and De Niro just being perfect. So thank you, and Alyssa, you're amazing. So we don't need a decomp now. I did it all. But yes, I'm going to throw it over to Rook. Go.
Hi, I've been Rook. I've been playing Marigold, resident expert in Boy Yaoi. Just gonna let that one sink in. Okay. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at RGK Games. You can also find me on Itch at the same thingy. I will not be at any cons because British.
Get good.
See you all next week. Nada, go.
Hey, well, there is a lot happening. So I did an intro. I'm Netta, or Amir, but not the character, or Noor. And I'm really just playing a mouse ritter game. On Mondays, that D20 campaign should have been mouse ritter, and I stand by that. Uh, at 5 Pacific, much like this one's 5 Pacific on Fridays. So yeah, had such a blast trying to navigate all this shit and this silly little character. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Again, that's all because my socials will never change. It's trans father.
Yay! We will be off next week because of cons and
Too
things.
bad.
But yes, see y'all in October. Bye.